Oh, I've been set free, I've been redeemed by the greatest love.
See how stupid that kid looked today? I mean, he was cracking me up. Did you see what he was wearing? It was so, I mean, I think he got it at the flea market. In the garbage at the flea market, not even at the tables itself. I mean, he's so wimpy. Gosh. Oh, did you notice his friend? His friend looks like he has a few extra pounds on him. Did you know his parents are getting divorced? Yeah, they're probably getting divorced because of him. Yeah. And see, these are the things that we overhear, things that start to define us as people. Those things that I just did with Jake were things that were done to me. When I was 10, 11, 12, 13, probably some of the same age as you guys are, bullying and gossiping and backbiting were all things that were done to me. Has anybody ever encountered that in their life? I think all of us have in one way or another. So what comes with that? What is the price that comes with that in your heart? You may not know that. That's perfect. Shame? Oh, I know I don't add up enough. I need to be more like this person. I need to be stronger. I need to have more money. I mean, geez, if I had more money, people could like me. What about guilt? If it wasn't for me, my parents wouldn't have gotten divorced. I wouldn't be here alone. Maybe a sense of worthlessness. I'm not worthy to be loved because other people have defined me as unlovable. How about fear? Man, fear was a huge thing for me. When I was growing up, I remember going into the 6th grade at Lincoln Middle School, and it was like some of the 8th graders there were just out of prison. I mean, I think these guys were honestly just out of prison. They were huge dudes to me, and I lived in fear. In fact, riding the bus, I had an hour bus ride home, and if I sat anywhere near the back, I know none of you guys ride the bus, but they would be hitting me in the back of the head. I'm going to get you when we get off the bus stop. 6th grade, that was a lot of 6th grade for me. So what was my response to that? Well, my response was to now start to do that to other people. And that's what bullying does, because hurt people hurt people. You understand that? People that are hurt people. So I felt weak and worthless and unlovable, and inside I was crying and nobody to share that with. So I decided to not feel weak. I would bully those that were weaker than me. So this pattern, this cycle of bullying began to define me, began to define my life. The problem was the wound wasn't from me not having enough or not being enough. The wound was from me defining myself by a lie. I had nothing to be ashamed of. I wasn't guilty. I wasn't condemned. But when I tried to handle all that on my own, guess what happened? I couldn't do it. You know, even now, when I'm 40 years old, that was 28 years ago. I still get a visceral response. I still get an emotional response to that. Because I remember the crap that I went through as a kid. You guys are dealing with crap yourself, aren't you? And they're just rules and procedures that we try to use to handle life apart from God, apart from what real love is. That's all they are. They don't work. So I'm going to give you guys two choices today. And you're either going to make one choice or the other. So you're going to make the choice to either trying to handle all this alone, apart from God. And think about that alone. You ever see the animal videos, right, of Africa? And what do the lions try to do? What do those that are strong try to do? They try to take the weak, set them apart, and take them down. You can't handle it alone. I was so proud. Last week I had a group of guys that were more courageous than many of the adults that I get to speak to every week. They began to tell me about the bullying and the things that are happening. Guys, that's happening to all of us. Girls, that's happening to you. It may not be the same way that it happens to a guy, sometimes with girls are a little more subtle with it. Can you believe what she wore? I mean, really? And then these things begin to define me. I'm not beautiful enough. Did you see the model on 17? Did you see the newest TV show? And we begin to define ourselves by a standard that isn't even real. It's fake. So I can try to handle this alone, on my own. That's one way of choosing to do it. Or I can choose to start to trust other people into my circle. And say, guys, this is what I'm dealing with. Parents, guys that love you. Jake, youth pastors, I need to confess these things. This is what I'm feeling. And the reality is all of you guys are feeling the same thing. But the face that we put on, the mask that we put on, pretends that we're not. Because we don't want to put the weak mask on. We have to put the strong mask on. And really, the ones that are strong are the ones that confess their weaknesses and allow other people to love them right where they're at. And don't allow other people to define them. So that's one way you can handle that alone. The other way is you can handle it with others. And the most important way to handle it is allowing God into your life. Allowing the love and life of Jesus Christ into your life. See, we have this mindset about Christianity, and there's 3 ways to understand it. And all 3 of you guys have one response in one of these categories. You're either have never heard about Jesus Christ, so you don't know to believe, or you've heard and you said, that junk is not for me. I won't believe. The other part, the second part, is I believe in him like a historical figure. I believe in him like I believe in Abraham Lincoln was our 16th president. And a lot of that passes in Christianity as real belief. That's not what God is asking. Picture a chair here, since I don't have a prop. I can believe in the chair and be separate from the chair. I can believe that the chair is real. I can believe that the chair can hold my weight up. Does that mean that I trust that chair? No, it's not until I rest into that chair, until I believe into it. And that's what God is inviting each and every person into. He's inviting us to believe into him, where there's no more separation between, look up here, come on, back up here guys. No more separation between you and God. That's what it means to believe into him. So therefore, when you are alone, you're never alone, because Christ lives in you. That's the gospel message, that Christ can come to live inside you. So you guys have to wrestle with this. God doesn't make you his own by forcing it. That's not the way that love works. Love invites. And God invites each one of us to know him. So we're going to make a choice to either handle this apart from God and alone, like that gazelle, like that zebra that gets taken down, or we're going to choose to say, God, your love will handle this, and I'm going to trust you and trust others right where I'm at. It took me 28 years to figure that out. It took a lot of wounding, a lot of pain, and a lot of hurt. I rejected, I pushed away God most of my life. I ended up in jail for a while. I ended up doing all of the things that come with living independent of God. I could do anything, I thought, but it never satisfied. Only God will. So I press you guys today, get with your leaders in here. If you need to know what it means to have a relationship with the living God that breathed his life, that breathed your life out, then get with some of the leaders here. Get with Jake. I know a lot of you guys are from the bridge. Get with me. I'm happy to sit down and talk to you about my own struggles. And be true-faced with one another. And then all this bullying crap, because that's what it is going to stop. Because then I don't need to prove anymore that I'm stronger. I don't need to prove that anymore because I get healed from those wounds. Most adults take those wounds into their life and live out of those. But you guys have a chance right now. Something I never had, because I never heard this before. So I've pressed you guys to press into Jesus. So that's my talk today.
Thank you. Hi, church. Okay.
There's a question.
Hey, why don't we do this? Why don't,
Any questions? Sorry.
questions for Dave?
Does it matter to God how late in life you start believing in him?
Repeat the question.
Does it matter to God how late in life you believe in him, right? That's your question? Yeah, I think it does. Because during the times of your life that you need him and that he needs to be in relationship with you, you're rejecting him. Does it matter at this point, if you guys have parents, that you guys have a relationship with your parents? Or will you want to have that at the last moment right before you die? No, God wants you to be in relationship with him. He doesn't come. God is not the cosmic killjoy. He's the author of joy. He comes to bring joy. And as we rest into him, we know real joy. I knew a lot of happiness, but happiness is always defined on what's happening. I could never get enough happiness, but God is the author of joy. So I think it does matter. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
With the greatest love, oh, I've been set free, I've been redeemed by